When New York comes to court, it comes to Judge Joe Brown.
And now it's time for Judge Joe Brown. He's the real deal in the courtroom today.
My would-be roommate kept my money when I never moved in.
She kept harassing me. I'm not giving her anything.
Craigslist brought them together. The details tore them apart. Administrative Assistant Barbara Perino is suing her former roommate for a rent deposit. Defendant Sean Gallagher says the plaintiff was too demanding. Now, here's Judge Joe Brown.
Now, how did you come to learn that he was seeking a roommate?
Correct. There was an ad placed online, and I responded via email.
What was the rent supposed to be per month?
In his advertisement, he said $500 per month would include the rent and all utilities. I agreed that I would then issue a check for a security deposit.
You did issue a check. How much was that check for?
In the amount of $500.
$500. So how about this little issue here about privacy doors or whatever that is?
It's quite common in New York City to rent out a living room space.
Yes.
I found it was absolutely sufficient and that I would be able to put up some sort of door or curtain, and my concern only was when I might be able to get in to do that.
Now what happens?
I was in communication with him simply through email, and discussed different items that might be necessary in the apartment. He explained that he doesn't cook, and I said I do like to cook, and that I'd be happy to bring all kitchenwares that I'd be happy to share with him as well.
Well, you sound awful happy and joyous from your testimony. What happens to diminish the joy, so we have to come for arbitration?
Absolutely. Everything was progressing very nicely, and when he sent his receipt for the security deposit that I paid, it came from a different email address. I questioned him about the email address. Who is this? Where did this come from? He explained to me that it was an old email address, and because it referred to parenthood, I asked, you know, or I made a comment rather that it sounded as though it might be in reference to parenthood, and he let me know that he had children. However,
well, now, let me point something out. He complains that he attempted to get you introduced to his children, but you declined.
He offered to introduce me to his children. On the Friday night, I proposed I go to his apartment and receive a key. I explained that I wouldn't really be comfortable on that evening meeting the children because I expected to have my family members with me. My parents are not particularly thrilled with the idea of me moving into an apartment with a gentleman, let alone a gentleman who has young children. They're more interested in me pursuing my schoolwork, pursuing my career, and you know, having an independent lifestyle.
So what breaks everything down here?
I suggested that we put down in writing our obligations and expectations as far as how the rent would be paid every month. If I need to contact the landlord, where does he live? Who is he? What's his phone number? With the gas utility hooked up, I was the one who was going to use it, and I wanted to you know, coordinate with him. Whose name is that going to go under? How are we going to take care of that bill? How are we going to negotiate space in the house when the children are around? I sent that proposal to him and said, would you consider these items that I've outlined and any others that you are concerned about, and let's put them on paper and agree to them. He wrote back that he was not interested in doing that and decided not to rent the room out at all, and that he would return my security deposit.
But you didn't get it.
No, I did not. I still have not.
Tell me your side of things.
Well, it all actually started when I had asked her, I had made a phone call to her and said, would you mind if I keep one of the closets for now? Actually, I asked her, would you mind if I use one?
You had 2 closets.
Right. And I said, do you mind if I just keep one for now and I'll buy a closet, put it up, put my stuff in there after? And she had said no. So I said, all right, that's fine. You know what, I'll deal with it. And then she sent me that whole letter about, you know, we need to discuss certain issues that are coming to a head. It's just a lot of demands for an apartment that she's renting for me. It's my apartment. She's, you know, she wants me to fill out a roommate agreement and all. It's my apartment. It's not even hers. It's just too many demands for somebody that's just going to use my living room.
I'm sorry, sir, but it's not his property. In an agreement like this, we are roommates. I don't find that it was a demand whatsoever, and having 2 closets, 1 closet, a box to put my things in was not a sticking point. The conversation by telephone.
It was when she would call me up saying that I demand that, you know, it says right there.
That is incorrect. I
It says
never
it right
called
here.
you.
It says it right here.
I never made a telephone call.
All of a sudden, when I
to?
told her to forget it, she was like my best friend.
What are you?
Oh, you know, I would have gave you everything you wanted.
What are you referring to when you say it says it right here? Do you have a copy of that? Maybe that'll help me out. Miss Sonia, please. Judge needs a little assistance. Arbitrator here. What do we got? All right, there we go. Oh, okay, this one. We ought to discuss lease terms, length of tenancy, total amount of monthly rent, landlord's contact information, responsibility for utility bills, monthly protocol for checks and receipts, personal space, cooking, cleaning, general cleaning, regular household items, parentheses, toilet paper, paper towels, cleaning products, parentheses, noise levels, overnight guests, out-of-town visitors, and others. So, in your perspective, what caused the breaking of the agreement?
That email.
Yes. Yes.
I just foreseen a lot of issues later on that I really didn't want to deal with later. She needed to know all those different things that, you know, she didn't know. And plus, the thing with my kids, I just thought that was a little annoying. You know, my kids come to me every other weekend. They don't sleep over. They visit, then they go home. So all I have to do is meet them, you know, for a minute, and that's it. She can do what she has to do, and that's it.
And I would have been absolutely happy to meet the children. That was never an issue. It was just timing. Like I've already explained, I felt it would be
Plus, she
a
didn't
lot.
even tell her parents that I had kids, and that's what the problem was, really. She just didn't want to tell them that I had kids
My parents
until
were
after they
very
were
well
gone.
aware of the fact that you have children.
That's what she says now, but she didn't say it that day.
We'll be back with more Judge Joe Brown in a moment.
Her parents called me up, saying that they're coming to my house. They want the cash, no check, cash only. She's not getting nothing from me.
I'm sorry, it wasn't a demand on my part whatsoever.
Oh, her parents though. Parents said cash only.
Later on Judge Joe Brown.
I did pay the rent, Your Honor. I gave her.
Hey, we've got passionate New Yorkers. We've got them in the courtroom, too.
Welcome back to Judge Joe Brown. The defendant in this case says his near roommate had way too many demands for him. He says the plaintiff was moving into his apartment, but acted like it was hers. Let's listen in.
Back to you. Did you send anybody the check?
Yes, I sent it to her, and then I stopped the check when.
Why?
Because I was getting. Well, first I sent it back. Well, I sent it back. I didn't send it back. I told her I'd send it back on I think it was like a Tuesday or Wednesday. I didn't actually send it out to that Friday, but she was calling me that Monday saying that she didn't get it, but she's going to show up at my house on Tuesday and wants cash, not a check. And
I thought you said that was one of her relatives, her father or something.
That's later on.
That's later.
Yeah. So I told her, I wrote her a text message saying, don't come to my house, don't call me. If you don't receive the check by Friday, I'll give you another check. Apparently she didn't get it, so that Friday, her parents called me up saying that they're coming to my house, they want the cash. No check, cash only. So I called her back and said, you ain't getting
Well,
nothing
now,
from me.
didn't she write you a check?
Yeah, she wrote me a check. But, you know, had she just asked me nicely just for another check, I had no problem with that. But she's demanding cash. She's not getting nothing from me.
I'm sorry, it wasn't a demand on my part whatsoever.
Oh, her parents, though. Parents said cash only.
I made one telephone call when I hadn't received the check in over a week, and
It wasn't even a week yet. If she's calling me,
it was 6 days.
if she's calling,
Excuse me,
if we
6
discussed
days.
it on that Tuesday, and I tell her I'm gonna mail it out that Tuesday, right? And she's calling me up on that Friday.
I received a message from him. He was sending the deposit back on Tuesday, October the 17th. Come the 23rd is when I got text messages from him saying, don't call me, I don't want to hear from you, you'll get the check, I'm going to put a stop payment, I'll do a new one, this, that, and everything. And I said, whoa, he's getting so upset about it. All I said was, I haven't got the check. The list
I
of...
don't want to cut you off, but I think it was a good idea you two did not move in. But you get your $500 in your court costs.
Thank you.
Judgment accordingly.
Courtroom is now in recess.
The plaintiff says she was pleased with the defendant. Convivial or not, the defendant was spooked by the plaintiff's attention to detail, but she gets her deposit. And now we're on to the next case.